Hey everyone, welcome back to the Get Chatty. Welcome. Sorry. Hey everyone, Arthur the Chatty Curator here, and welcome back to me and Monica spilling the tea and have a little tea talk about things around the world and things that we found, and just start a conversation with everyone. So in this episode that we both just watched a YouTube video from ABC Comedy by a really funny comedian, Sammy J, is a really interesting take of how they're very well-intended individuals in different space, like politics, corporate, to just talk about what they think they can do. And I really enjoy the presentation of this video, but it's just way too real, isn't it?
It is, Arthur, and in some ways it's sad that is really happening around us. It's very just common, and they play different roles in the video, right? They have politicians, they have like large companies executive, and someone who is just a commoner. But that is often how we react to things, including myself too. Sometimes when we are hearing all these people saying like, oh, I have done this. I've said that I have represented someone who say something like this. I'm trying to help them to get a voice. And I just switch off because it's another person talking, but there's really no action or super delayed actions. And so no wonder a lot of people get really frustrated. And then you can see all these movements around the world, people just on to street because they think that they are not being heard, and people who actually represent their voice actually don't understand what they're going through, and there are no changes for too long a period of time. I truly understand that because, I come from a country where this sort of things happens. I think it's very common around the world. It's not just to us, people in Australia, but it's actually happening around the world. And of course, certain segments of the community will experience it worse than others. Like Asian people usually are very quiet. You go around the world, in Asian people live they're like nomads sometimes to me. You will find Asian people in any corner of the world, but they're often very quiet. They are the people who just try to do their things and then, in the background, and try to feed their family and do their best, and then just not to disturb anyone. And that's how we are, the culture we are. But that doesn't mean that we don't want to get heard, right? But on the other hand, I can also understand people like in the video, they say well-meaning white people, right? Or maybe we say the majority of a population in a certain country. That is how they are being taught through the education system, how to respond, how to acknowledge differences, how they can help other people by just having a conversation first. My husband say, oh, are you going to do a podcast that, you just talk only and no action? Are you going to be part of that kind of people? I'm like, I can't answer him, right? Because I haven't shown him the action that I can take. But I hope by doing this, I can build up the message and connections with my community, and maybe we will spring into actions. But these are the things that we see happening in our community. And this is how we are being educated to actually reach out and approach people who are different from us. And we have our biases. We don't fully understand all the differences and how people who are different from us, how they live their life, and that sort of things. So if I put myself in their shoes, perhaps it is true they think they are doing something good enough because what else can I do, or what other channels can I use? And so it is a very, very complicated issues. But saying that doesn't mean we can't improve.
I think I'll share that there's actually two occasions of well-meaning white people that I experienced with. The first one is back in like 2002 when I was in uni. I think I had because back in that point in time, yes, it is within this century. We can't just say it's 1990 something, 1980 something. No, it was 2000s. And then one of our because I was in an art school, and then at that time there was a lecturer that I actually clashed with him quite a bit because he's like, and not only himself but other faculties in this art school in University of New South Wales, that they are actively teaching appropriation, which is cultural appropriation. And I really dislike it. I really don't like it. And I really speak out against it. And of course that I unfortunately that I don't get really good result of that semester. But I think one of the key things for me is that, and a very ironic takeaway is if I do something of Asian references, then still I will get good marks from pretend to be Japanese or pretend to be Korean, which I have no effing ideas. I like their food, that's all. So it's a little bit like, but of course I understand that at that point in time, that's the creative movement. That's like, if you look at even consumer culture, or if you look at advertising and everything, that you do kind of have that predominantly white people, and then Asian cultures or other culture are being appropriated as packaged products in a way. So I can see why this lecturer was teaching the student this way. But no, I was really vocal against that. But of course, anyway. Yeah. So the
I
other,
can tell you, other very experienced people often are blinded by their own experience, that they think it is the most appropriate way to go about these issues, to actually help people that way. Like when I was a very young, like I'm still young, but younger academic staff, I just started teaching, but there are some student issues. I just thought, how can we manage that better? So I went to a senior person, a white leader in the teaching and learning space, and he's very nice. And I talked to him. I say, these are the issues that I'm facing with the students, And then he's like, interesting, Monica. Interesting. You know what? My wife is an Asian academic. I never heard that she say anything like this. That's it.
God. Wow.
That's it.
Well, I mean,
and then I thought, oh, okay. I walk out of the room and thought, is it my age? Is it? Maybe it's my age. Maybe I will get better if I have more experience. Just like that.
No, actually, I need to know what's in his coffee. I need to know the brand name. That sounds like some good shit that he's been having. It's a little bit loud. Like, are we just being talking heads about talking shit on the internet? Yes, we are. But what we're hoping to do is by doing this, we can gather a momentum with other like-minded people who are open to talk about these kind of things. Because the thing is, for the community that, like, when, for the time that we grew up in, we were taught to be quiet. But I was like, I'll be quiet for 5 seconds. I'll take a deep breath and start talking. Like, that's just the way I am. And I'm not going to suppress that. And I don't think other people should be too. Because the thing is, if we allow that to perpetuate, then other people, other well-meaning individuals, they are maybe white or maybe other color, people of color, that they don't really know
that's right,
what everyone's going through. And if we are too afraid to start a conversation, then it will go nowhere. Yes, right now we're just talking head. We're just talking rubbish. Like, we're just having, well, now I wish
Tea.
this is a vodka.
Yours is vodka, I know.
I wish it is now. So, I mean, it's a little bit like, yeah, so we, I don't know, I think that it is an opportunity for us to talk about something about it. And I know that the world has improved so much. And I'll give you my second example. It's actually happened last year. A really good friend of mine, he's a very talented artist, and he was about to exhibit at a show in Melbourne. And this really talented and really good curator as well, but I never met him before. And he mocked up a synopsis about the show, and I was about to open it as the curator of as a curator of the show. Of course, I didn't really curate it, but then it's part of a talk or something like a guest appearance. Um, but based on that, it was so interesting because this particular person at the gallery, he's actually written something that makes sense to me, that I guess with presumption, because we never talked before, we don't really know each other much, and then he saw my LinkedIn profile, so he presumed that I am from China and have lived experience as a Chinese person. But I actually have to explain to him, it's like, look, I mean, I was never a Chinese national, and I couldn't speak Mandarin either. So I can't exactly accept. Um, but then I can understand that that will be the perception that the audience also have if they saw a name like mine, because my name is Chan, so it's very obvious it's a Chinese name. And I'm proud of my Chinese heritage. But I do tell people that I'm a Hong Kong heritage because I'm, well, anyway, let's not go into that yet. But then I think it is interesting because this photographer who's exhibiting was documenting his experience in Mandarin speaking China and the community there. And it was so interesting. But I know that if I barge in as one of the speakers of the event, people would have a perception of a certain way. And I would unintentionally become a force against what the message of that exhibition is about. And I don't want that, because
and you might distract that message.
Absolutely, because this particular series of photographic series is talking about, like, seeking an identity and seeking the question about seeking opportunities overseas and things like that. And I love that series. I really like it, and I don't want to unintentionally become a force against it just because of how I look, how my name sound, and when people have a perception. And I agree with them that, look, I mean, actually, oh yeah, actually, you might be better if you actually get someone with a lived experience in China, or someone with Chinese heritage, or someone who was a Chinese national, or something like that, to really help you with that topic. I wish I can be. I really wish that, and I really wish I can support that show like that, but I can't. I just can't, because. But then that's another well-meaning approach. Is that I guess I learned by talking so much, in case if you haven't noticed, I do, is that I learned over these years, compared to my first instant with the lecture, is that I learned to really just look at the intention behind what they were doing. It's sometimes that if someone, like, well-meaning people, if they're white or other colors or whatever, if they're well-meaning, I would love to start a conversation. I would love to get them to get to know me and get to know what my story is, and my conviction and everything in between, my questions and my, and everything. And I would love to get to know them too. So that's why I was like, yeah, are we talking heads at the moment? Yes, we are. But I hope that, people will connect with us, will reach out to us. And yeah, and sorry, you were about to say something.
Yeah, I thought, talking is a type of action.
Yes.
right? We're taking action. If you see a problem, do something. As simple as that. You don't have to wait and go, oh, you know, like the other day I was like, you know, the COVID is so bad in India. At dinner, I was telling my husband, my mom is like, oh, so bad, you know, some of my students are really affected. Like they are here, yes, they are safe, but the family are dying. Like their friends, girlfriend is dying. Oh my God, imagine that stress. And you can't go back to do anything about it. You know, you can hear they are dying, but you can't do anything. Then I say, what can I do? What can I do? Right? And my mom said, what can you do as just one person? I'm like,
Well,
we have to do something. Or
well, I
one
mean,
person,
yeah.
right?
Look, we know our limitation. Like we're not the savior of the world, but at least we can be ears to listen to
Yeah,
like to bear to, or if we know that there's somewhere that they can get some help, like maybe like mental health or well-being or financial or something like that, then we can refer
yeah,
them. It's a little bit like, yeah, in this occasion we're just talking heads, we're just talking and listening. But just like my intention of the whole Get Chatty about your local businesses series is that people you know or people you read, people you refer to might not be the direct person who can help you, but
no,
they might know someone who can help, or they
that's
might
right.
have information that can help. And then if we just stay in quiet, no one will know. No one
No
know that
one
you.
knows, no one understands what the true situation is. No one knows who's in trouble. And by talking now, we hope to connect with people who might have some answers or who are willing to actually join forces to find some answers. And by talking, we actually make connections. And that connections can build a network. And when a network is built, there will be collective resources. And that is the point. Step by step, we are taking actions. Every time when we talk to someone, we're taking action. You never
Yes.
know that the other person who is listening, they go, oh, I
There
know
you
someone
go.
who can help, you know,
There you
and
go.
that's it. Just like the other day, there's a student of mine, very, very sad. Her father passed away. Okay.
Oh,
In India, COVID, so sad. I mean, you're
oh.
studying here and your father passed away, and you can't even say a goodbye to your beloved one. And then on top of that, because the father is the main financier of the family,
Oh,
her brother who is studying in med school were told to drop out because there's no more finance. He's in the middle of his study and
oh.
lost his father, and now the school say drop out because I don't know how you can pay the fee. And her sister works as a nurse in the hospital. Oh my God, put yourself in that situation. She came to see me because the assignment was going to be due soon, and she said, my head is not in the right space, Monica. I want to submit this, and I know she's a good student, but I just cannot have that strength to push to meet this deadline. But I will be like maybe 3 days late. Can you give me an extension? I said, yes, I give you an extension, but I think you need more than just an extension, right? These things doesn't go away overnight. Just after I submit my assignment, then I'll be fine. I say, no. I say, how can you cope for the rest of the trimester to finish she has 4 subjects she enrolled in. So I say, and classes are online, right? And although the campus are open, I say, I want you to come in. I'm going to go into a classroom and I'll teach in that classroom. I want you to sit in front of me, just like that. I want you to sit in front of me. And also other classes you can request, I will help you. And I say, just sit in front of me. I want your head in that space. When you're studying, you're studying. I say, you can go home at night and worry about your family. And that's totally fine, right? You give your space to deal with your personal issue, but I want you to make sure you can study. And this is the space where we will create for you. You focus. And she came in, she did came in last week. And she told me this is so good because I need to put 4 walls around me. And I really feel good to be here so that I can temporarily forget about my problems and just focus on making sure I can finish my study. And then when I go home, I'll deal with the problem with my husband at home. And then I come again like that. So this is one person, the effort of what one person can do. And she talks. I'm so glad she talked to me. And then we try to find a solution. She did not have the solution, but someone else may thought of something. We can always try to do something so that we can maybe find the best solution. There's no best solution. There's only a decision to be made today, which can lead to a better decision tomorrow. Even if it is a wrong decision, there is a decision, but we learn from it, we improve.
Exactly. It's a little bit like I think if your student didn't tell you what she's going through, it can end up really tragic. And of course, like you won't be able to solve every single problem in her life, but at least you are enabling a space for a short period of time each day that she can focus on one thing at a time. And hopefully that would get her out of that. Oh gosh, I feel so sorry for her. It's a little bit like this is well, this is why people need to speak out, because I think at least it will be good that when well-meaning people can connect with each other, like-minded people can connect with each other. Like you said, it's a network of people, and then when there are similar voices come together, that's how we get stronger. Well, I mean, there's good example that it can happen. It can. Well, I don't know if it's a good example, but Donald Trump supporters, they come together because they're like-minded. They don't stop talking about themselves.
And the message is clear and loud. Everyone follow the same one single message. Easy for them to just build a big force because they talk.
Well, I mean, this is going to sound horrible, but then it's a little bit like, well, we're kind of re-engineering that, but let's just try not to be assholes. Like, it's a little bit like, just because we're not assholes, well, I am, but I don't know about you, but then we can still be kind of good people, okay? It's a little bit like, if they can do it, if they can mobilize themselves to get to where they did in January 2021, I mean, we all know what happened in Washington, D.C. in America. But look, I mean, I think there is potential in there, and it is possible. And I'm so sorry I have to use that as example because I can't think of any other example of that everyone can follow. But then, oh shit! I mean, look, like we are re-engineering shit into something good.
But you are a marketer, right, Arthur? You know the value of good message. By good message, it doesn't mean well-meaning message. It means a message that can just go and reach out, to a lot of people. And Donald Trump is very good with that. He knows exactly what that one single simple message will work. Bang.
Well, I mean, with all of the people, even if they don't support him, then at least they will have a question. Is like, all that money in that hair, that kind of thing. So I was like, wow, okay. But I think this is the thing because, I think I'm not saying that this idea is re-engineering the shit there, but there's some parallel there that we can draw. And then it's a little bit like, if we believe in something, believe that we can actually go out there and find our tribes, find the people similar to us and start a conversation, it can become something. And we don't need to storm a Capitol building for it.
No. We can a very simple thing is to share stories. Absolutely. If you share your story, I think one, if you watch the video, one thing is so common among all the well-meaning messages is they are so hollow. You know, it's like, I've done this. Yesterday I walked the march. It's so hollow. Like, so what, right? So when you share story, it's honest.
Yep.
There's truth in the story that people can resonate and connect with what your experience is. And that is the important. We don't want to just send messages out like that, you know, like hollow messages. But it is the stories we share with one another that build this whole intricate web of experience and draw resources in, draw attention in. And that's what I hope you are also with the same aim. And we aim to actually be able to build that community who can share resources to help each other. It may not directly from the two of us here, but they might then realize, oh, there are other people who actually have similar experience, or maybe I'll reach out to them, right? And the other thing is, we have too many institutionalized bodies which are good, that they draw funding, they draw attention to specific topics, like, you know, LGBT group, or you have now a lot of unfortunate family abuse cases. So there are different specialized groups that actually provide support to victims and their families and people who get affected, which is, I think, fantastic initiatives in the community. But I bet because someone start talking, all these start to spring up, right? And then they become a visible group that can actually draw resources in to provide those who are in need. But we should not just then think, you go to that group over there, they have the resources for you. Now, in the first place, because someone start talking and someone is willing to help that person, and we gather larger force, we form this group. It should not then draw a limit and a boundary as to only that group will provide support and resources. Any one of us can, with little steps that we take.
I think this is an interesting thing. Like, you know, this is something that we chat about yesterday, like before the recording and things like that. Is that so many people are within a silo that, you know, and I think once a group of people achieve a certain level of mass of people that have that voice together, that process slows down, and then they kind of like form a bit of a bubble, which in our opinion, like I guess we both agree on that one, is a little bit like, it's not the most healthy way to do it, because sometimes it's not about you get this, refer you to here. It's not like a corporation, like, you know, if you have a trouble with your printer, go to IT, or if you have an issue with a leaking wall, just go to building management. It's not like that, because there are issues in the world, not only about, like, you know, being maybe like, you know, social issue or cultural issues, or sexuality, gender, every of these identification. I think one of the next step that all of these groups can do is forming collaborations together and just really align each other together, because there's no reason that they should not be. And then it's also good that they are talking to each other to find common issues, because, you know, I mean, there's a saying that, you know, divide and conquer. If we divide ourselves, then it's actually easier for other shit to hit the fan. I'm not going as far as saying that we'll be attacked or like predicting someone will attack us, but then, you know, that if you look at it from the other side of it, is if you're being overly siloed, then people don't need to divide and conquer. You already divided. So it's a little bit like, oh, it's a little bit like, it's a little bit like those canned tuna that with the easy handle. It's a little bit like, oh, you already make yourself to be hit hard. So
yeah. And
I
the
really,
loneliness will set in.
yeah. And the thing is, look, I mean, even for however well-meaning groups are there, is that sometimes you don't find everything 100% agree or comply with what you're doing as a person. So sometimes you do need to you do need to be in multiple groups or reach out to other groups in collaboration and work together. So I think that's what we want to take out from this video, is a little bit like, it's a really good satire video. And I think it is a good way for us to just, so hopefully that people can draw to us. And so Monica, so if people want to reach out to you for just a conversation or whatever, can they find you? We are repeating this.
Drop a message below and we will get back to you. So whichever platform you see this video, drop a message and then we'll get back to you. And we really love to hear from you. We have all our biases. I acknowledge that, and I may not know everything. And one day my son said to me, "Oh, you are smart, so you tell me this." I say, no. I don't know everything in the world. I'm still learning. Okay, so if you can also provide things that can improve, what we talk about and share it, that is exactly what we want to do.
I'm quoting someone about that, but then someone I heard was actually really good, is that she said, "I don't know what I want, but I know what I don't want." So that's a really good starting point.
And Arthur, if they don't want to put a public comment, they can just tell us and we will reach out to them in email, in private. They can share the story, no names calling, no identification of who they are.
They can actually, if they want, they can send me a direct message on chattycurator.com. If they don't wish to comment on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and such, that is available. So is an alternative, because I understand it can be sensitive topic, and well, I mean, there's a lot of assholes out there that ready to put some keyboard comment, keyboard fighters, those kind of people just randomly just criticizing people for no reason. And look, you know what? If we get to that point, that means we made it. So you know what? I encourage you. If you are being an asshole, you don't know anything about any of us or don't know what we do, just want to put a nasty comment underneath, do it. So thank you in advance. Oh my God, Monica, it's such a joy, and thank you so much. I just enjoy talking to you, all the we just talk crazy for regularly. And
I think we're so lucky we can find someone who can talk crazy to each other just like that.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider watching another one in the series or my other interview with Monica on Get Chatty about your local businesses, because there are so many different ways that we can support each other, and it's only about starting a conversation that we can make things happen. We still have a long way to go. So I hope you all have a good rest of the morning, good rest of the afternoon, good rest of the evening, whenever you're watching it. And meanwhile, thanks, Monica, and I hope everyone have a good day. See ya.
Thanks, Arthur. See ya.